go. Okay. Okay, this song started life with a little, some obscure little string band recorded it in Virginia sometime in the 20s. And then the New York City Ramblers recorded it, and then Ry Cooder recorded it. But my version is closer to the little string band than it is to Ry Cooder.
You haven't, you
Hi,
haven't,
Mary Jane.
Hi.
you haven't muted us, Terry.
You're right, I haven't.
We're immutable, all of us.
Oh, please. You're just a bunch of mutations.
Muted.
So hush up now. Here you go. I went on the mountain to give my horn a blow. Thought I heard some pretty girl say, yonder come my beau. Crow black chicken, crow for day. Crow black chicken and fly away. Crow black chicken, my oh my, I like chicken pie. Chicken crows midnight, chicken crow for day. Yonder come a big burn owl, woo woo. Stole my chicken away. Crow black chicken, crow for day. Crow black chicken and fly away. Crow black chicken, crow for day. I like chicken pie. Well, hardest work that ever I done was plowing field of rye, and the easiest work that ever I done was eating chicken pie. Crow black chicken, crow for day. Crow black chicken, fly away. Crow black chicken, oh my, I like chicken pie. Once I had a big frame house, 7 stories high. Every story in the house filled with chicken pies. So crow black chicken, crow for day. Crow black chicken, fly away. Crow black chicken, crow for day. I like chicken pie. Well, chicken crow for midnight, chicken crow for day. Yonder come a V8 Ford, ooga ooga, chase my chicken away. Crow black chicken, crow for day. Crow black chicken, fly away. Crow black chicken, my oh my, I like chicken pie. And can hardly hear that. Pie, pie. Can't hit that note. Chicken pie.
Chicken pie.
Yeah.
I learned that from the very first Ry Cooder album, which is almost 50 years old now.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about the fact that when the New York City Ramblers recorded that, the song was maybe 20 years old. And now, New York City Ramblers records are older than that for us, you know.
Yeah.
Just a matter of perspective. Okay. So, Shall we move along to Tom? Let me mute all. Okay, Tom, the whatever poet you are. You need to unmute, please. Tom needs to unmute. That's what you're.
Mute. There we are. Okay. Oh, alas. Technology, not good for Luddites. Poetry is in love with music, but the problem is music is in love with music too. So we have to expand our poetry toolkit. So the ciphers and copias, they are beauty too. Your toolkit's expanded from page to stage and back again, photography, cinema, performance, and drama. To every aspect of our pandemic withdrawal, we are together. In sound, in word, in nuance, in accent, in dialect, in muse, imported and foreign. Can be sampled now, mashed and beaten and bashed into beauty. Before 2021 is totally forgotten, its incremental repetition lives on, in chants, in beats, in riffs, in cadences and flows. You know it is spoken when the rhythm reinforces the meaning, and you know it is page bound when sound is subordinate to eye glitter language popping power, meaning you read and reread and then hear it sing. Melody and metaphor meld and melt and meet in the urgency of content. Whether you revere, revile, reject, or remix rap, you will still react to the sound, sense, rhythm, and rhyme. This time, Beowulf to Cardi B, Homer to Paul Lawrence Dunbar. Every truth is in the mix today. Access is everything. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram sing. New and the young, black and the brown know their history, son. They create culture in the context of flow. Nobody knows where the next line goes. Spontaneous improvisation is the jazz of now. Make your own word music power. Thank y'all.
Excellent.
Love it.
That's excellent.
Grateful.
It is.
Grateful.
Thank you, Tom. Mark, you want to give us something? Muting all. Ready for Mark.
Okay. Everyone remembers, I'm sure, Claudette Colbert as Cleopatra and her most famous scene. All right. Well, this is the song. This is her song. Okay. Every morning at 8:30, the little girl comes up, says, "Don't be late. It's hard times with the mill, my love, hard times with the mill. If you sleep in another hour, all that milk is gonna go sour. It's hard times with the mill, my love, hard times with the mill."
So you're saying Claudette Colbert sang Hard Times in the Mill?
Hard times with the
With
mill.
DeMille.
With DeMille. Sorry, I'm a little dense.
Yeah, the reference is the milk bath scene in Cleopatra.
Oh, yes.
Hard times with, well, that could be hard times with the milk. Yeah.
That's true.
It's a hard time with the haze, but that's another.
Yeah, it was sort of a lecherous scene, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh me, that was pretty short, Mark. You want to do another one?
No, I don't have another one. So I'll have to develop something from Duke Ellington.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
That was
in
a
that
shiny
case,
little diamond he gave us. Come on now.
we'll move along to Stuart. Muting. Ready for you, Stuart? And shutting myself.
All right, I got a theme for the two songs today. It's a theme about song or singing as a way to help people transition from life to death. Remind about this, a few years ago when Pete Seeger died, Judy Collins was at his bedside singing the Bells of Rhymney, which Pete Seeger had taught her 50 years before. And evident as well, she was actually playing and singing that song that he passed to the great band in the sky, as it were. This is a song by Eric Bogle about apartheid times Africa back in the 60s, 70s, and a song called Singing the Spirit Home. They came for him in the morning, an hour before the dawning. The pale white moon was waning in the African sky. The door self-floor wide open, they stood looking at him. He saw no mercy in their hearts, no pity in their eyes. As they took him and they bound him, tied his trembling hands behind him, he felt his courage leave him, his manhood disappear. His legs would not support him, so from the cell they dragged him. He sobbed and screamed and cursed them in his loneliness and fear. Chains, chains, chains. How many souls have died in freedom's name? To some it is a way of life, to others just a word. To some it is a snow-white dove, to some a bloody sword. But until the last chains fall, freedom will make slaves of us all. With faces closed and hidden, the white guards walk beside him. Indifference to his pleading, they've been down this path before. But other eyes were watching, and other ears were listening. Other hearts beat with him in his final desperate hour. From the darkness of that prison came the sound of his brothers singing. Courage, their voices told him, you do not walk alone. From the cells beyond the shadow, he heard their voices echo. As in love and pride and sorrow, they sang his spirit home. Chains, chains, chains. How many souls have died in freedom's name? To some it is a way of life, to others just a word. To some it is a snow-white dove, to some a bloody sword. But until the last chains fall, freedom will make slaves of us all. And this song of hope and freedom, it rang inside that prison. It beat against the iron bars and crashed against that stone. As in their fear and hate they hung him, the last sound that filled his being was this brother singing, singing, singing his spirit home. Courage, brother, you do not walk alone. We shall walk with you and sing your spirit home. Courage, brother, you do not walk alone. We shall walk with you and sing your spirit home. Courage, Brother, you do not walk alone. We shall walk with you and sing your spirit home.
Yeah.
What's the title of that song?
It's called Singing the Spirit Home.
I saw Eric Bogle at the Port Fairy Folk Festival many years ago, and he's still good. I mean, he's alive now.
I know Port Perry.
Brilliant.
Been there, done that.
You did Port Fairy? Wow!
I did a town hall meeting in Port Perry with local community organisers.
I'm so proud of you, Stuart.
Sorry, little Commonwealth chat there.
Sorry about the distraction, folks. That's amazing. Talk.
Okay, time for Dave Polachek, I think. Are you by your Lunson or is Karen around?
Karen's taking a break.
I see. Well, give her our regards and I'll
She
mute
got
her.
her second Moderna inoculation last Wednesday.
Yeah, I found that knocks you on your ass. So,
Yeah, she's listening, but she's relaxing.
yeah,
So,
good thing to do.
yeah,
This too will pass.
yeah. So, as many of you are aware, there are songs that we sing in North America which were originally from England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, things like that. And this is one of them. It's an American version of a song that's found in England. And I know it's a folk song because I learned it from my father. And it's called The Fox. The fox went out on a chilly night, prayed for the moon to give him light. He'd many a mile to go that night before he reached the town, oh, town, oh, town, oh. Many a mile to go that night before he reached the town, oh. Now the fox he ran till he come to the pen. The ducks and the geese were kept therein. He said, a couple of you gonna grease my chin before I leave this town, oh, town, oh, town, oh. A couple of you gonna grease my chin before I leave this town, oh. Well, he grabbed the gray goose by the neck. He threw the little one across his back. He didn't mind the quack, 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 and the legs all dangling down, oh, down, oh, down, oh. He didn't mind the quack, 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 and the legs all dangling down, oh. Now old Mother Slipper Slapper jumped out of bed. Out of the window she cocked her head. She cried, John, John, the gray goose is gone and the fox on the town, oh, town, oh, town, oh. John, John, the gray goose is gone and the fox is on the town, oh. Now Johnny ran to the top of the hill, blew his horn both loud and shrill. The fox said, I better flee with my kill or they'll soon be on my trail, oh, trail, oh, trail, oh. The fox said, I better flee with my kill or they'll soon be on my trail, oh. The fox he ran till he come to his den. There were the little ones, 8, 9, 10. They said, Daddy, Daddy, better go back again. Must be a mighty fine town, oh, town, town, oh. Daddy, Daddy, better go back again, for it must be a mighty fine town, oh. fox and his wife without any strife. They cut up the goose with a carving knife. They never had such a supper in their life, and the little ones chewed on the bones, oh, bones, oh, the bones, oh. They never had such a supper in their life, and the little ones chewed on the bones, oh.
Hey, jolly old favorite.
We all learned that in our childhood. That was
We
wonderful.
did.
I learned that from Burl Ives, which is how I knew it
Oh,
was a
yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Great, great cautionary tale.
Their lives.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Does it? How far back does that song go? I'm not sure. I've heard it before Burl Ives.
I don't even remember.
I'm
you
relatively
heard it
sure
after.
he didn't write it.
No,
Yeah.
it's folks way back.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
15th century.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. hmm
Alrighty. Jim.
1472, I think it was October, if I'm not mistaken.
You were there.
When you wrote it?
I witnessed.
No, it was November.
All right.
Deep in November, it's hard to remember. So- okay,
All right.
Jim, it's your turn. I'm muting everyone.
Okay.
Ready?
Well, I will continue the Eric Bogle motif with a song that was #1 in Ireland. Oh, how do you do, Private William McBride? Do you mind if I sit down here by your graveside and rest for a while mid the warm summer sun? I've been walking all day and I'm nearly done. Well, I see by your gravestone you're only 19 when you joined the brave fallen in 1916. Well, I hope you died quick and I hope you died clean, or Willie McBride was it slow and obscene? Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they sound the fife lowly? Did they play the Dead March as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last post in chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? And did you leave a wife or a sweetheart behind? In some faithful heart is your memory enshrined. And though you died back in 1916, in that faithful heart are you forever 19? Or are you a stranger without even a name, imprisoned forever behind a glass pane, in an old photograph torn and tattered and stained, and fading to yellow in a brown leather frame? Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they sound the fife lowly? Did the rifles fire o'er you as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last post in chorus? Did they pipe you the flowers of the forest? The sun, it shines now on these green fields of France. There's a warm summer wind makes the red poppies dance. The trenches have all fallen under the plough. There's no gas, no barbed wire, there's no guns firing now. But here in this graveyard, it's still no man's land. The countless white crosses in mute witness stand to man's blind indifference to his fellow man, and a whole generation that were butchered and damned? Did they beat the drums slowly? Did they sound the fife lowly? Did they play the Dead March as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last post in chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? Ah, Willie McBride, I can't help wondering why. Do all those who lie with you know why they died? Did you really believe when you answered the call? Did you truly believe that this war would end war? For the dying, the suffering, the glory, the shame, the fighting and killing, 'twas all done in vain. For Willie McBride, it all happened again. And again and again and again and again. Did they beat the drums slowly? Did they play the fife lowly? Did they sound the Dead March as they lowered you down? Did the bugles play the last post in chorus? Did they pipe you the flowers of the forest?
Yay, Jay.
Let's moving. And I see Marlene has joined us
Good one, Jim.
from Israel. Welcome, Marlene. Oh, and there's Anne. Things are picking up.
There is a time difference issue in. I think we're out of sync with the UK right now.
Are we? Okay.
Until next weekend. Then we get.
I'm 8:30 in the evening.
8:30.
Oh, no. That's,
I'll figure it out.
ignore me.
I tried. Okay.
We don't change our hours till March 26th.
Yeah, so that's the 2 weeks. So we change on the March 14th over in Texas, I know. So
I put up GMT time, but that's tea time in GM. But no, yeah, I put up the time in GMT, but maybe that's not the right thing to do. What's sort of a standard that everyone could figure it out
Well,
from?
we changed from GMT to BST, which is British Summertime, in 2 weeks.
Oh,
But you just change it to BST.
okay.
But if you leave it at GMT, we all know that it's another hour.
So does that mean anything to people in Poland and Israel? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
We're also
I
going to
hadn't
have
heard of any change as in time. I just haven't heard of it. It's 9:30, and that's good enough for me.
yeah,
See, what I mean is that I've been putting up the time as GMT,
Yeah.
thinking that everyone could work it out from there, but
Yeah.
apparently
Well,
that's
they
not
can. They
such a
still
constant.
can.
that's the universal means.
They still can.
Yeah.
Okay, even if they don't.
Put it in, if you put it in Mumbai time, you do it at 30 minutes past the hour.
Mm,
Really
I
confusing.
have this
I've
beautiful.
noticed that,
I
yes.
have this beautiful.
Wow.
There you go.
So what is that, Anne?
It's a world time zone table.
It's a world date.
Color coded.
It's
So,
your phone and your smartphone.
so you just happen to bring that with you. I wonder what time they're on.
Right.
It goes for lots of sessions, I think.
Yeah.
No, it was too late for the Celtic people. They're on time there. So that's why I tried.
I watch CNN. They give me the time.
The only one that gets me is there was a CD launch in San Francisco, which would have been 4 a.m. Yeah, I draw the line at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, I do a 3 a.m. Show because it's free.
Or if I'm still up, I'll keep going. but I won't wake myself up to start at 4 a.m. That's
For a brief time, I worked for
start at
Dell
3 a.m.
Computers, and we had these conference calls that had people all over the world, and there wasn't any way to find some time that wasn't ghastly for somebody, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, keep a CST.
Yeah. Okay. So let's. We just had Jim, so let's have Mary Jane next, please. I'm muting everyone, and it's all yours, Mary Jane. You still need to unmute, Mary Jane.
All right. I'm going to do a song called Open Range Ahead, and it's by Bob Nolan. So it's a kind of a cowboy song. It sort of sounds like it might have been written for a movie or something, but if it was, I don't know what movie it was. But Bob Nolan was in the Sons of the Pioneers, so that's good enough for me. If you like a lot of room around to roam in, where any place you stop your heart's at home in. If you like to see a campfire in the gloaming, there's an open range ahead. If you like the sound of lazy cattle mowing, where miles of sage and tumbleweeds are growing, then it's time you knew the only place you're going is an open range ahead. Up in the sky, keep a bright sun shining. Out in the west, let a clean wind blow. Here in your heart, there will be no more pining for somewhere else to go. Like to hear the prairie wind wailing and watch the snowy clouds above us sailing, you can bet your life your heart will soon be trailing to an open range ahead. Some folks will spend a lifetime searching for and near for something that's always been waiting for them right here. Like a lot of room around to roam in, where any place you stop your heart's at home in. If you like to see a campfire in the gloaming, there's an open range ahead.
Yay! That's
Yeehaw.
it. Good one.
Yeah, never heard that one before. It's great.
Thank you, Mary Jane.
You're welcome.
Oh, Jeff Hall. Are you there, Jeff? Hello, Jeff. There he is. Do you have something for us today?
All right, I'm gonna try and play something on my viola.
Okay, I'm going to mute everybody, so you'll have to unmute again, please. I'm muting.
My studio is not it's not big enough. Let's see. Okay, that might work. So this is an Irish folk dance, according to my beginner viola songbook, tune book. Irish folk dance. It's called Paddywhack, and it's in G.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Very good. Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Uh,
Thank you.
let's have Marlene. Do you have something to share with us? I'm going to mute everybody in anticipation, and then you'll need to unmute yourself.
Okay. This I wrote to Shalita Lindo Music back in April 1st when we first had our serious lockdown, 2020. Okay. Pasta Alfredo online with the chef in your kitchen. Al presto, over there in the village square, there's only food and medicino. Oi, 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 oi. How will we make Passover solo? The markets are full, but every delivery costs me mucho dinero. Oi, 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 oi. We long to sing and eat al fresco for a bit of fun and a little sun. Just look out the window. Come to me by the fountain here, only 100 meters de mi casa. Over there in the village square, you can get tested for corona. Oi, 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 oi. What will become of our Pascha? I still have schoolwork to do and feed the whole crew, though it's only for me and mi esposo. Ay, 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 ay. Somos muy preocupados. What will we do for a whole month or two when we can't even go to synagogue? Achoo, bless you. No corona for me, no corona for you. Chelita lindo, ole. Okay. Okay. That's one of my many songs that I wrote for poetry class. Voices.
That's great. Oi, 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 oi.
And it's
We
before
can buy
Passover
Corona
also now, but
that anybody buys it, though.
what?
We can buy Corona over here in Warsaw, but I'm not sure that anyone actually buys it.
The beer?
Beer.
Right. It's not kosher for Passover.
In the grocery store here, remember we had the big toilet paper shortages and all sorts of shortages, and the grocery store made what they call Corona cakes. And one was a cake in the shape of a bottle of Corona beer, and the other was a cake in the shape of a toilet paper roll. Another was in the shape of a Kleenex box, and anyway, it was very popular.
Yes, it was funny at the time.
So let's
And then it dragged on.
let's have a song from Anne, if she'll indulge us. I'm muting everyone. And we are ready for Anne to unmute.
Oh, what shall I sing? Oh, back to the sea again. Can't get away from it. She was used, she was abused, she never knew she was a victim, a drunken father's pleasure before she was half grown. Her ma ignored and she endured until one night in anger, she broke a bottle on his head and launched out on her own. And you may think that she's your Polly on the shore. She'll be your sister, or your lover, or your whore. She'll be waiting till you're safely out of view. Then she's looking for another sailor, gullible as you. She headed down to Sailor Town, began her education, but Polly knew the only way to win was fighting back. She learned the ropes and fleeced the dopes and dreamed above her station, but she kept half of everything she ever took from Jack. And you may think that she's your Polly on the shore. She'll be your sister, or your lover, or your whore. She'll be waving till you're safely out of view. Then she's looking for another sailor, gullible as you. When the crimp said her ma was dead, Polly, she wished she could have cried as rumours of a drunken murder came to Sailor Town. But Pa went free with drunken gree, so Polly had him shanghaied. He woke up on a hell ship, Yokohama bound. And you may think that she's your Polly on the shore. She'll be your sister, or your lover, or your whore. She'll be waiting till you're safely out of view. Then she's looking for another sailor, gullible as you. Now Polly dines on finest wines, and she's quite the lady. She owns almost everything in dirty Sailor Town. And Polly hires and Polly fires, and Polly says what may be. But maybe Polly can't forget enough to settle down. And you may think that she's your Polly on the shore. She'll be your sister, or your lover, or your whore. She'll be waving till you're safely out of view. Then she's looking for another sailor. Sailor, fisherman, or whaler, looking for another sailor, gullible as you.
Why, my dear Annie, such a naughty song.
I know. Mr. Simpson.
Not naughty, it's nautical, please.
Yes, nautical, not naughty.
I
Nautical?
recommend as Tom Lehrer's Irish Ballad.
Okay, my turn, my turn. So I'm going to do one of those traditional African American call and response spirituals that comes to us by way of the Georgia Sea Island Singers and Bessie Jones. And okay, so call and response is pretty hard to do on Zoom, but we'll manage. So I'm going to sing the call and the response, but your part is to do a steady clap. It goes like this. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? No. And then there's the response part. Yes, Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Okay? So be sure and keep it up loud and clear so that all your neighbors in the little video spots can hear you. And if you don't hear them, you just have to use your imagination. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the rule? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the singing of the song? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the singing of the song? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the clapping of the hands? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the clapping of the hands? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the marching on home? Oh, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the marching on home? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Well, sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Ocean, you young sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Oh, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Well, don't you know the road by the praying of the prayer? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the praying of the prayer? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the praying of the prayer? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the praying of the prayer? Well, yes, my Lord, I know the road. Well, young sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Old sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Well, don't you know the road by the marching on home? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the marching on home? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Well, sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the singing of the song? Yes, oh Lord, I know the song. Don't you know the road by the praying of the prayer? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the marching on home? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the clapping of the hands? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road.
Yeah.
Hey, Terry.
Somebody give me an amen.
Amen.
Hey, sheep.
Ah, men.
Johnny's trying to get on.
Oh,
Yeah.
Let's
What
see.
do you got to do
She's
about it?
there? Okay.
Yeah, I think I see Yanni. Are you on, Johnny?
Yes, we're
You
here.
are.
We
Great.
want to know.
Well, you know something? You know something? You're just in time to do a song if you want to do a song.
Great.
You're a little bit slow motion there in Zoom land.
So I need it, because we need it for years to keep working people online. So I hope that next week, we will, or to get good internet. And then you're going to be in trouble. I'm going to be singing every week.
We're having a little trouble hearing you there. So okay, well, maybe your connection will improve here, and we'll come back to you. But very happy that you joined us
Where are they located?
in Cozumel,
Huh?
Mexico.
It's raining.
Cozumel.
Cozumel. Thank you.
It's raining.
I was just asking for a country, you know.
Where?
That's what the problem is.
They're real near Ted Cruz.
Yeah. We start with
Now, listen. We will make jokes about that. People will refrain from Texas jokes. It's really embarrassing these days to be from Texas.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do I mean?
Around here, boy, you're up from around
And
here.
you think this is new, Terry?
Yeah, Ted Cruz is probably the only Republican to get booed at CPAC. Yeah, that's really amazing.
Oh. Texas makes us exiles feel good, actually, so it's okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Texas makes who feel good?
Us exiles feel good. so-
Exiles, yeah, well, we're all universal exiles here. Anyway, so round the circle again. Tom, do you have an offering for us here?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm muting everyone. Ready for you?
Yesterday, two things happened. I found out that England does have a COVID memorial, a virtual one, and the number of deaths in America has toppled the number of people who went to Woodstock. It's now at least 518,000. So this is a petition for America to start remembering the names of the 518,000, like the Vietnam Memorial times 20. We will never know all their names. This virus has changed all our lives. We will never be the same. So my poems are like telegrams. Wake up, quick, wake up. Even if I'm just talking to myself, I must still look and see and breathe and move with the urgency of information overload and critical thinking. So filter my waters from propaganda, ask the questions that may have no answer. Now that there are no telegrams, these lights bleed with electrical urgency and acoustic fervor. They disappear like daily newspapers, astrologies, cartoons, and jokes. They reappear in cliches, old habits, premonitions, and prophecies. Combination soup crystals, each with bee's eyes facets, linger longer. Let this meaning sink in. There is no returning to Woodstock, Ultimate, or Burning Man. There is no normal, no new normal, just abnormal. Nostalgia fails us. The best, like Ferlinghetti, are vaporizing. The worst are conspiracy theorists. We are in the midst of changes we can no longer predict, even in folk songs. Ask Tesla. The future's being sold back to us as an optional app. Plug into your new iPhone and ask where their lithium batteries come from. Moon, Mars, China. Book your astral travel quickly. Tickets before tomorrow's price rises up, because this is not a history class. We are all alive in this, and we live in astonishing times. The whole world really is watching Zoom and has become an internet truism. And your words and songs are needed for the defense of what remains of humanity. Re-enter poetry, which has always been with us, but was often seen as history, etymology, archaeology, to be revered, studied from a distance, but never used in practical sense. Enter your diary, your post-confessional poets, Anais Nin, Virginia Woolf, Sylvia Plath, Erica Jong. Enter mass advertising, corporate television with a soundtrack of brevity, metaphor, and wit. Enter performance poets from the page to the stage, writing original script, verse novels. Enter slam poets with competition, judging and cash prizes with HBO, Def Jam, and an international audience like this one. These new modes are iterations of old forms. The bard, the romantic love poet, the minstrel like you, and the dissidents, evolving via rap, hip-hop, jazz, trip-hop, instantaneous and spontaneous muse explosions. Word reincarnates with song, resurrects, rips a lid off the coffin of cliches, from Vogon poetry to McGonagall, by any word necessary, drawing attention to environmental degradation, police murder, children's rights in a manner urgent as telegrams. Now they are abolished, heavy with child thoughts and elder wisdom. You poets, you folk singers, you stand at this moment in time equipped to sing the better future in. You better start singing. Thanks for listening.
Well, Tom, I think you managed to get everything in that point.
Brilliant.
That's
Tom,
the first haiku.
can I get a copy of that? enjoyed it.
I'll send it to you. No probs.
Great.
And by any word necessary.
Any word necessary. You got it, baby.
By golly. Okay.
Beautiful.
Mark, have you got another one for us? Well, he's muted, but I'm going to mute everyone, and he can unmute and tell us whether he.
Okay.
There you
This
are.
is another episode in Old Possum's book of Practical Cats. This is about Mungo Jerry, not that Mungo Jerry. Teaser. Okay. Okay. Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer were a very notorious couple of cats. As knockabout clowns, quick change comedians, tightrope walkers, and acrobats, they had an extensive reputation. They made their home in Victoria Grove. That was merely their center of operation, for they were incurably given to rove. They were very well known in Cornwall Gardens, in Lunston Place, and in Kensington Square. They had really little more reputation than a couple of cats can very well bear. If the area window was found ajar and the basement looked like a field of war, if a tile or two came loose on the roof, which presently ceased to be waterproof, if the drawers were pulled out from the bedroom chests and you couldn't find one of your winter vests, or after supper one of the girls suddenly missed her Woolworth pearls, then the family would say, "It's that horrible cat. It was Mungo Jerry or Rumpelteazer." And most of the time they left it at that. Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer had a very unusual gift of the gab. They were highly efficient cat burglars as well, and remarkably smart at a smash and grab. They made their home in Victoria Grove. They had no regular occupation. They were plausible fellows and liked to engage a friendly policeman in conversation. When the family assembled for Sunday dinner, with their minds made up, they would, excuse me, with their minds made up that they wouldn't get dinner on Argentine joint, potatoes and greens, and the cook would appear from behind the scenes and say in a voice that was broken with sorrow, "I'm afraid you must wait and have dinner tomorrow, for the joint has gone from the oven," like that. Then the family would say, "It's that horrible cat. It was Mungo Jerry or Rumpelteazer." And most of the time they left it like that. Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer had a wonderful way of working together, and some of the time you would say it was luck, and some of the time you would say it was weather. They would go through the house like a hurricane, and no sober person could take his oath. Was it Mungo Jerry or Rumpelteazer? Or could you have sworn that it might be both? And when you heard a dining room smash, or up from the pantry there came a loud crash, or down from the library came a loud bing from a vase which was commonly said to be Ming, then the family would say, "Now which was which cat?" It was Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer, and there's nothing at all to be done about that.
Yay! Practical cats.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the other Mungo Jerry. You remember that one?
Exactly.
It was a great song, but the words were just irredeemably sexist. It was really bad.
Originally was an agricultural reformer in England.
Indeed. I didn't know that.
The original Mungo Jerry was like an 18th century agricultural reformer.
That was Mungo Park.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, you know,
That's the
you gotta get your
problem
Mungos.
No, it wasn't.
You're
Mungo
thinking of
Park was an
Jethro
explorer.
Tull.
It was Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I am going to mute all for Stuart. Muting all for Stuart. Already, Stuart.
Okay. Along my theme of poetry and music together as song, helping people transition from life to death, we started off with Singing the Spirit Home by Eric Bogle. This is Sing Me Back Home by Merle Haggard. warden led a prisoner down the hallway to his doom. I stood up to say goodbye like all the rest. I heard him tell the warden just before he reached my cell, let my uke-playing friend do my request. Let them sing me back home with the songs I used to hear. Make my old memories come alive. Take me away and turn back the years. Let him sing me back home before I die. I recall last Sunday morning, a choir came off the street, came in to sing a few old gospel songs. I heard him tell the singers, there's a song my mama sang. Won't you hear it once before you move along? Let them sing me back home with the songs I used to hear. Make my old memories come alive. Take me away and turn back the years. Let them sing me back home before I die. Let them sing me back home before I die.
Thank you, Stuart.
Go.
Dave Paulchek next. Muting everybody. Ready for Dave.
Okay, this is a poem I like quite a bit, and it's by William Blake. As I understand it, it's one of his earliest poems that he wrote. He simply called it Song, but it's more generally known by its first line, "How sweet I roamed from field to field." It's rather a mysterious poem. It's unclear what is actually happening, but that's part of its charm. See what you make of it. The tune I've chosen to sing it with is an old Irish spring carol called Hugamar Féin an Saoire Linn, which means something like, "We are bringing the summer with us." How sweet I roamed from field to field, and tasted all the summer's pride, till I the Prince of Love beheld, who in the sunny beams did glide. He showed me lilies for my hair, and blushing roses for my brow. He led me through his gardens is fair, where all his golden pleasures flow. With sweet May dews my wings were wet, and Phoebus fired my vocal rage. He caught me in his silken net, and shut me in his golden cage. He loves to sit and hear me sing, then laughing sports and plays with me, then stretches out my golden wing and mocks my loss of liberty.
Very nice. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave, for poetry and music.
What was the tune again there, David?
It's called Hugamarfein an Saura Lin.
Okay.
I'll send you the spelling of it, which it doesn't look like that. And it means we brought the summer with us, which is what they sing when they're bringing the May branches to the people's doors in springtime.
That's Irish Gaelic, right?
Right.
Right, thanks.
Okay, back around to Jim Turtelot, I believe. I'm muting everyone. Jim? Jim, please unmute.
I was going to read my favorite Adrian Mitchell poem, but I can't find it because the book's too thick. So I'll have to sing my favorite Adrian Mitchell song instead.
Are you sure it isn't that the poem's too thin?
No. As I say, so I'll have to sing my favorite Adrian Mitchell song instead. The song is actually the words are Adrian Mitchell. The melody is from Arlo Guthrie, and they're both about one of the great songwriters of the 20th century. Victor Jara of Chile lived like a shooting star. He fought for the people of Chile with his songs and his guitar. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. Victor was a peasant, worked from 5 years old. He sat behind his father's plow and watched the earth unfold. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. When the neighbors had a wedding, one of their children died. His mother sang all night for them, with Victor by her side. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. He grew up to be a fighter against the people's wrongs. He took all of their joys and griefs and turned them into songs. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. He sang for the copper miners and those who worked the land. When he sang for the factory workers, they knew he was their man. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. He campaigned for Allende, working night and day, saying, take hold of each other's hands, the future starts today. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. When the generals seized Chile, they arrested Victor, then they caged him in a stadium with 5,000 frightened men. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. Victor stood in the stadium. His voice resounded strong. He sang for his comrades till the gods cut short his song. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. They broke the bones in both his hands. They beat him on the head. They tortured him with electric shock, and then they shot him dead. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. Victor Jara of Chile lived like a shooting star. He fought for the people of Chile with his songs and his guitar. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong.
Yay!
Adrian Mitchell did a reading for the Bradford Writers that I was part of over there in Yorkshire, and they revered him. His most famous quote, most people ignore most poetry because most poetry ignores most people.
Yeah, well, I love that song.
That's why he was the Shadow Laureate.
Yes, absolutely, and deservedly so.
Yeah. Well, I love that song, but I never could get through singing it without breaking up, and so I never tried to perform it. Okay, thank you, Jim. Mary Jane, your turn. I'm muting everyone. And I'm muting me. It's all yours.
Okay. I'm going to do a Woody Guthrie song. It's called The Pastures of Plenty, about migrants. It's a mighty hard road that my poor hands have hoed. My poor feet have traveled a hot, dusty road. Out of your dust bowl and westward we rode. And your desert was hot and your mountain was cold. I've worked in your orchards of peaches and prunes. Slept on the ground in the light of the moon. On the edge of your city you've seen us, and then we come with the dust and we're gone with the wind. California, Arizona, I make all your crops. And it's north up to Oregon to gather your hops. Dig the beets from your ground, cut the grapes from your vines. To set on your table your light sparkling wine. Green pastures of plenty from dry desert brown, from the Grand Coulee Dam where the water runs down. Every state in this union us migrants have been. We work in your fight and we'll fight till we win. It's always we ramble that river and I. All along your green valley, I'll work till I die. My land I'll defend with my life if it be. 'Cause my pastures of plenty must always be free.
Yay!
Good job.
Lenny.
Hey, okay. Very nice. Thank you, Mary Jane. Moving on to Jeffrey Hall. You got another thing for us here?
Okay, I can read a poem.
Okay, I'm going to mute everybody. And we are ready for you to unmute.
Okay. So, this is still kind of new. It's called Motel Couch. Lauren and Ben agreed they didn't want coffee, just something hot to sip, hot water. Ben filled the motel coffee maker again. It surged and gurgled while they hugged, this time not in greeting nor in parting. Shoes shuffling on linoleum by the kitchenette counter, inventorying classmates. Yes, I remember the time. That's sad to hear. No, I didn't know her. Outside the one window over the bed, snow continued to fall on the parking lot, drawing Ben's eyes to the bed. But he led Lauren to the too small couch, where she lay stiff as a sawhorse, tight in glossy black buckle-strap shoes. Chipped faux leather scratched his ankles. She said, "I don't want you to think I'm the kind of girl who does this sort of thing." "No, I couldn't imagine," he said. Thank you.
That was
Nice.
no, thank you. And we're all the way back around to Marlene. If you have another one for us, I'll mute everybody and we'll see if you do. So you can unmute.
Okay.
Marlene.
This is according to the tune of "Fill the Parting Glass," Good Company, that I wrote these words. Okay. All I want and all I wish is to live my life in good company. I have always yearned for a big family. When my brothers left me, 1, 2, 3, oh, then I was young, 5 years of age. My sister left never to return home again, but she has been in later life my very best friend and confidant to consult with without end. But next to leave home was Brother Bob, who joined our midst on holidays. Passover thus was my favorite time, with all my 5 brothers singing songs in rhyme. But Bob has left never to return, a casualty of the COVID-19. And all I have is a faint memory of our final day in his company. Next to leave was my brother Zom, who studied up north until he wed. But he succumbed to a stroke so tragically when we but saw him once in a fancy home. Dan the first to go so long ago, leaving behind a wife and daughters 3. He was felled in his prime by colon C, his wife too soon after from bone marrow C. This holy land has blessed our clan as our children raise new families. We look forward to the day of liberty, when those we lost knock on our door. Then forevermore, please the Lord, it shall be in our own country that we enjoy the company of those redeemed for eternity.
Yay! Hey, very good. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Marlene. Did we lose somebody here? Must have been Yanni.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you for
okay.
sharing that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, time for Anne. If you have time for us, I'm muting everyone. And already, Anne.
I thought I'd just lighten the tone a bit. This is a variation on Flanders and Swan that a friend of mine wrote after she actually did most of these things on the same weekend. 'Twas on a Monday morning that the gas man came to call. Well, we'd lit each other's pilot lights before we left the hall. He turned my heating up so high, it warped my old bed frame. So I had to call a carpenter to make it flat again. Oh, it all makes work for the working girl to do. 'Twas on a Tuesday afternoon, the carpenter came round. He hammered and he chiseled, and he said, "Look what I've found. Your junction box was dry, my dear, but now I've put it right." Then he nailed it to the floor so hard that out went all my lights. Oh, it all makes work for the working girl to do. 'Twas on a Wednesday morning that the electrician came. He was a disappointment, even called me Mary Jane. He couldn't find my fuses, and his torch was small and thin. Then his toolbox broke my window, so I called a glazier in. And it all makes work for a working girl to do. 'Twas on the Thursday afternoon, a glazier I found, with his blowtorch and his putty. He was fun to have around. He was jolly and efficient, but was far too quick for me. So I had to get the painter in to finish off, you see. 'Twas on the Friday morning that the painter made a start, with primer and with undercoat and gloss on every part. Yes, every nook and cranny, girls, but I found when he had gone that he'd painted over the gas tap and I couldn't turn it on. Now on Saturday and Sunday there's the telly and the pub. There's cricket, golf and snooker, and there's football down the club, where working men spend weekend hours a-playing with their balls. So I had to wait till Monday, till the gas man came to call.
Nice variation.
Yeah. Good one.
My dear Annie. Okay. So, gosh, since Yanni's gone, I guess that completes the circle. And I have a goodbye song, but before I sing it, I'm going to ask if there are anyone wants to do an encore. Stuart.
All right.
Oh, sorry, I forgot I was muted, but it's yours, Stuart.
Yeah, I got it. My mute button doesn't work. I have to go to another page to get to unmute for some reason. Anyway, this is nothing to do with the death songs. This is a reminiscent song by Townes Van Zandt. It's performed by Guy Clark at the Townes Van Zandt's Memorial in Austin City Limits. Called To Live Is To Fly. Days up and down they come like rain on a conga drum. Forget most, remember some, but don't turn none away. Everything is not enough and nothing is too much to bear. Where you've been is good and gone. All you keep is the getting there. To live is to fly, both low and high. So shake the dust off of your broken wings and the sleep out of your eyes. We all got holes to fill and them holes is all that's real. Some fall on you like a storm. Sometimes you dig your own. The choice is yours to make. Time is yours to take. Some sail upon the sea. Some toil upon a stone. To live is to fly, both low and high. So shake the dust off of your broken wings, the sleep out of your eyes. Goodbye to all my friends, it's time to go again. Just think about the poetry and the picking down the line. I'll miss the system here, the bottom's low and the treble's clear, but it don't pay to think too much of the things you leave behind. To live is to fly, both low and high. So shake the dust off of your broken wings, the sleep out of your eyes. Shake the dust off of your wings and your tears out of your eyes.
Yay, yay, yay.
Poetry and picking together.
Yeah, poetry picking, PNP. Yeah, very nice. Very
Is
nice.
it possible to do one before we go?
Okay, Tom, were you saying you had one?
Yeah, I certainly do.
Okay, I'm muting everyone. All yours, Tom.
Thank you. This is for Austin and the survivors of the snowstorm. And it's in today's paper, but no one reads the paper. Something good arises within us. What we learned in a time of official negligence, the true nature of community, voluntarism, sharing, equality, how shallow the bonds of paid duty, how deep our common humanity. Flooded friends given refuge and sanctuary with those of lower income, businesses donating food and water to those without shelter in Austin, kindness in shared circumstance replacing rage, anger, alienation, respect for elders and the vulnerable young, people giving extra of themselves. We are learning the true cycle of pain, how it returns like love and care and compassion again. We're still learning lateral feeling and swift adaptation to change circumstances. We need responsibility, ability to respond, and official and personal accountability. This may mean we have to change again. Interdependence is everything. Suddenly, in shock, we dust off those ancient village concepts. We are all in this world together. Even the rich cannot stay in Cancun indefinitely. Even the poor share who they are with each other. And we learn and prepare for cycles to return, this time with the wisdom of experience and the benefit of 2020 hindsight. Thanks for listening. Long live all of us.
Thank you, Tom. Any other encore?
Yeah, Terry,
Yes.
I found my favorite Adrian Mitchell poem, so I'd like to read it.
Okie doke. I'm muting
And
everyone.
Marlene wants to do one too, so.
Okay, don't worry. I won't run away. Okay, ready for you, Jim. You must needs unmute. Jim, you need to unmute. There you go.
It's a poem called Human Beings. Look at your hands, your beautiful, useful hands. You're not an ape. You're not a parrot. You're not a slow loris or a smart missile. You're human. Not British, not American, not Israeli, not Palestinian. You're human. Not Catholic, not Protestant, not Muslim, not Hindu. You're human. We all start human. We all end up human. Human first, human last. We're human or we're nothing. Nothing but bombs and poison gas. Nothing but guns and torturers. Nothing but slaves of greed and war if we're not human. Look at your body with its amazing system of nerve wires and blood canals. Think about your mind, which can think about itself and the whole universe. Look at your face, which can freeze into horror or melt into love. Look at all that life, all that beauty. You're human. They are human. We are human. Let's try to be human. Dance.
So wonderful, so affirmative.
Yeah, that's perfect, Jim. Thank you.
All the same parents, Adam and Eve, right?
Yeah, right. So, Marlene, did you have another one for us?
Yes, I wanted something more positive and not.
Okie doke. I'm
okay.
muting everyone, and we'll let you know in just a second. It's ready for you to unmute.
Okay. Quarantine, I wrote last May to the tune of Downtown. When you're alone and life is making you lonely, just go online. Online, the world's at your finger by the touch of the button. Just go online, online. You can break the time zones in various locations. Zoom at once with family at breakfast or with evening obligations. How is it so? It's not easy at first, but then you just burst in with Zoom in. Email and Skype may be old-fashioned. What's up? Send them a photo on Instagram, or even SMS will do, or fax. The whole wide world is waiting for you. Just listen to the rabbis giving spiritual consolation. Linger on the music sites with singers across the nation. Rest assured, by keeping a strict lockdown, we shall persevere until there's a cure. Online, you look at your window and see the flowers are blooming. It's a nature show. Quarantine, the nights are so quiet. Nothing disturbs you in quarantine. Quarantine, you may change your outlook when the rat race is finally over. You may rise to birdsong as naturally as a farmer in quarantine. The stars are brighter now than they ever were. The moon is as beautiful as ever. Look out your window, take a deep breath. The air is so fresh, you just never noticed till now. Now make it happen, finish that doctorate, write up your novel, or just read some books. You have all the time in the world. Quarantine, quarantine, downtown. Okay. This is my Voices Israel group. We also have a global Israel group, so I could put a plug in. Anyone want to join? You can join. Okay, check us out.
Mm-hmm. So, send us your link or whatever you have, and
I'm not good at that.
sometime. No rush.
Okay.
You know where I am. Okay. Any other encores? No. Well, it's just about time.
You want
Tom,
one more?
were you volunteering there, or are you just waving?
No. I'm happy. I've got one more. I think Marlene has too.
One more?
One.
Okay.
I'm allowed another one.
Life is amazing in Texas.
Oh, Marlene has another one.
Yeah, it's both. Both of us have.
Both of you have another one. Good. Okay. Well, we'll let Marlene go first since she's already got the floor here. I'm muting all. And
Okay.
I am ready for Marlene to unmute.
Okay. This is a song to the tune of Chaimke Sheli, my Chaimke. It's an old Israeli song, but an apple for the teacher. An apple for the teacher, the lovely Mrs. Gray. I put one on her desk and then just ran away. But when I see her eating it, I feel so very proud because I love her so much, though I won't say it out loud. I pick the big juicy red ones, the best that I can find, and keep it cold and fresh in a brown paper bag. And when I see her coming, I hide behind the wall, but peek out ever so slightly so she won't notice me at all. She is so very pretty with her smiling big blue eyes. I think she's the kindest teacher in all the world around. An apple for the teacher who teaches the 3rd grade. Today I bought her a red and yellow one, 2 of them, 'cause it's her birthday today. I know she's gonna love them, though I won't tell her where they're from, because I'm just the cleaning man, Mr. Levy, and she's married to Mr. Gray. Okay, that's it.
Very nice. Okay, Tom.
Alrighty.
Muting. Hold on, I'm muting.
Okay.
Ready.
Responding to Marlene's one about Zoom, as folk culture knows, everything has happened before and will be changed for sure. This is, I was a walnut radio with a 12-inch speaker, a crystal radio set to listen to music under the blankets. But then one night we piled in the blue Holden ute and stood together outside a locked shop window. Inside, I remember well, a Philips Magnavox TV in black and white and gray with men in suits and Disney World on Sunday nights when we would pilgrim down to welcome borrowed American imported images into our world. Flipper, Sea Hunt, Rawhide, Bonanza, My Three Sons in time became our black and white addictions. But most of all, we all look forward to Disney World on a Sunday night. Of course, one channel set by manager of the shop. Of course, free for our eyes and all others on that block. In time, we had our own and left that radio behind. And soon TV ruled our hearts and mind and time. Presume.
As we presume.
Yep, presume.
And now we will
what a Holden
reason.
is.
You do. Well, you know what a Holden is.
I know. I've driven one.
Australia's own car before GMH took over. General Motors took over, and then Japanese took over. It was Australia's invention. Wonderful thing.
How about that one? Any more encores before I wrap it up?
Jim,
There's Anne's hand is waving. And is Jim also have an encore?
Jim,
No.
do you know that poem by Adrian Mitchell called "I Love That Thing"? Do you know that poem? Wood, I love that thing. Metal, I love that thing. It's an amazing positive poem by Adrian Mitchell. Must be in his greatest hits book anyway.
Okay, well, I'm going to turn it.
Anne.
I'm going to turn it over to Anne. If she can behave herself this time, I don't know. Let's see. I'm
Yeah,
muting
this
everyone.
is
I'm
one
muting.
more
Hold on,
theme
Anne.
like-
And now you can unmute.
Yeah, this is a parting song. It was written by Horatius Bonner. Fading away like the stars in the morning, losing their light in the glorious sun. Thus would we pass from this earth and its toiling, only remembered for what we have done. Only remembered, only remembered, only remembered for what we have done. Thus would we pass from this earth and its toiling, only remembered for what we have done. Only the truth that in life we have spoken, only the seed that in life we have sown, these shall pass onwards when we are forgotten, only remembered for what we have done. Only remembered, only remembered, only remembered for what we have done. These shall pass onwards when we are forgotten, only remembered for what we have done. Who'll sing the anthem and who'll tell the story? Will the line hold? Will it scatter and run? Shall we at last be united in glory? Only remembered for what we have done. Only remembered, only remembered, only remembered for what we have done. Shall we at last be united in glory? Only remembered for what we have done.
That's great. I don't know if you mentioned this. That features in the play War Horse.
War Horse, yeah.
And if you haven't seen War Horse, it really is tremendous animatronics and visual. And that song is like the theme of Loss at the beginning and the end, and it's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, any more encores? Okay, well, I'll play the goodbye song, but before I play the goodbye song, I want to remind you that tomorrow is Celtic session. Same type, 2 o'clock in Austin and wherever it is elsewhere. And on Sunday afternoon, first Sunday of the month, which is tomorrow. And I almost forgot it was the first Sunday of the month, so I'm going to have to oil up my Celtics before I do that. But a good time will be had by all. So meanwhile, I'm trying to think of a goodbye song every week, which is a little bit of a challenge. And the goodbye song for this week is, let me see if I got the right harmonica here.
Don't forget to mute.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm just checking the harmonica out. No, that's
You better mute quickly then.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Okay. Boy, these harmonica racks are very irritating devices. So this is a song by Charlie Poole, who was a very popular string band leader. You know, Charlie Poole and the North Carolina Ramblers, I think. In the 20s, he was what we call a millbilly because he was out of that milieu of North Carolina textile workers. And the song, which tells the story of some relationships which never turn out well, and it's called Goodbye Booze. Well, goodbye booze, forevermore. My boozing days will soon be o'er. Well, I had a good time, but we wouldn't agree. You see what booze has done to me. She tore my clothes, she swelled my head. So goodbye booze, I'm going to bed. Well, I hadn't had a good time, and we couldn't agree. You see what booze has done to me. Well, she swelled my head, and she broke my heart. So goodbye booze, we now must part. Well, I had a good time, but we couldn't agree. You see what booze has done to me. She whispered low, how sweet it sounds. Please take a ride on the merry-go-round. Well, I had a good time, but we couldn't agree. You see what booze has done to me. So goodbye booze, forevermore. My boozing days will soon be o'er. Well, I had a good time, then we couldn't agree. You see what booze has done to me.
I'll drink to that. Yay! Ah,
Yes.
Yay, everybody.
I'll drink to that.
Huzzah.
Okay.
Doesn't work quite the same.
Yes, right.
yes.
Excellent. Okay, well, hopefully we will see some of you tomorrow at Celtic Session, and if not, in future sessions, which
Cats and dogs.
we'll get reminded of. Yeah.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye, booze.
Goodbye, booze. Yeah. We're addicted to each other.